All right, patch notes. We've got patch notes. We got these things. What do we have? The 6th Gundam Evolution development blog. 6th entry here so far in the updates being given for the game. Before I read this, I do want to preface this by saying the patch notes are Google translated. They are translated from Japanese to English, so there are some inconsistencies. Some of the translation is a little bit rough, and I'm going to do my best to swim through what sometimes unfortunately comes across kind of as gibberish through translation, but there's a lot of important stuff to take away from these patch notes, and I'm really happy to see right off the bat that the 4 suits that are being addressed immediately, and you can see those above me here, are the Barbatos, Turn A, Marasai, and the GM Sniper. Or the Gym Sniper, rather. But without further ado, as to me speculating, let's just actually read the 6th Gundam Evolution development blog. I'm Hagaki, Battle Director of Gundam Evolution. I'm not Hagaki. First off, thank you very much for your cooperation in the PC version of the network test. As I mentioned from Maruyama in the previous blog, I feel that we were able to have a very meaningful test with the participation of a large number of people from each region of Japan, the United States, and Canada. Especially since it was the first opportunity for people outside of Japan to come into contact with me, I was a little worried about how Gundam Evolution would be perceived, but as a result, I received a certain level of evaluation. I was able to stroke one chest. What? I have to presume that means like I was able to, hold my head high, puff out my chest, be proud of the fact that the beta went well. Currently, the development team is preparing to publish a report based on the questionnaires and play data received. That questionnaire is very, very important, and I'm going to touch on that once I'm through the patch notes. But perhaps there is a unit balance as an item that attracts a lot of attention from everyone. You bet. In addition to this questionnaire, I also see sentences and videos posted on various SNSs, and I'm very happy to receive hot opinions from everyone about Gundam Evolution. I tried to tell such people what kind of thoughts development has now, but since it seemed there would be a lot of rich content, I thought I would tell it on the developmental blog instead of the report, so I wrote this time. I am. That's why long sentences will continue, but please stay with us until the end. I'm guessing that basically means, instead of doing this in a video so that other people can make content, I'm going to do this in a long blog, and I apologize for its lengthiness. This is an important sentence. English me speak good. Please note that the adjustment policy described this time is currently under development and is not guaranteed to be applied in the future. Basically, even though they're talking about how they would like to adjust all the mobile suits that they mentioned in these patch notes, there's no guarantee that that's actually going to be implemented in any official build of the game. These are just thoughts. This might happen. These changes are probably going to happen, but there's no guarantee that everything that's being mentioned here is going to be implemented into the suits. So take everything here, nothing here is law. Nothing that is in these patch notes is definitely going to make its way into the game. So if you're expecting a nerf to Barbatos that doesn't quite get there, they've already covered themselves about that. And speaking of Barbatos, this is about Gundam Barbatos, which has received the most feedback this time and has probably received the most attention from everyone. Now, this paragraph is a little bit of a mess. Barbatos is a unit that grasps the time and jumps into the opponent's pocket with high mobility and deadly melee attack as a weapon, and once you catch the opponent within the range, for opponents who do not know the countermeasures especially, I think it was easy to bring it to the defeat. Basically, Barbatos strikes hard, strikes fast, has very good mobility and deadly melee attacks, so if you catch the opponent off guard in a pocket, which I'm guessing is, isolated or on their own or in a corner is what they mean, it was easy to bring it to the defeat. It was Barbatos could 1-2 shot every suit in the game save for Sazabi. So yes, it was easy to bring those suits, quote, to the defeat. In addition to that, due to the factors peculiar to the network test, it was the unit with the highest winning percentage, although it was a slight difference throughout the entire rate band. Which again, I'm taking to say Barbatos might have had the highest winning percentage, but the winning percentages across the board with all the suits weren't all that different from each other. And you can see in the next sentence, in addition, the second and third place are Sazabi. That's gotta be that's gotta be Sazabi. In addition, the second and third place each are Sazabi and Pale Rider, and the difference in winning percentage with each is about 0.5%. Makes perfect sense to me. I saw those suits all the time in my team compositions. In fact, I pretty much picked Sazabi, I would say, half to 2/3 of the game. Sazabi was my favorite suit in the test, so... Turn A Gundam and Marasai, which were supposed to be counters by development, did not work well. Each will be described later. Barbatos users tended to focus only on that, and there was a large difference in the degree of skill of the aircraft with those who were playing multiple units. That's a little bit of a confusing sentence. I think the way I decipher that is that, you know, Barbatos was a very singularly focused unit, and people who played Barbatos really liked to play Barbatos, but that there was a very big skill gap in the skill of the players between those who were focusing only on something like Barbatos and those who were focusing on playing a multitude of the available mobile suits. The rate distribution was weak, and it was easy for people with higher player skills and people with lower player skills to be matched. So matchmaking was not matching high skill to high skill and low skill to low skill. I definitely felt that. On the other hand, the winning percentage tends to settle down in the high rate band where it's possible to distinguish the precursor sounds and understand and execute the counter means, which itself was the balance expected for development, but up to that point. I felt that the risks and returns were not balanced with respect to Barbatos' turnaround in the rate band. Again, pretty much think that means once you were in high skill level, once you were, you know, higher up in your competitive ranking, that's where people were understanding sound cues, people knew specific counters and how to do them, but still, risk and return for Barbatos was not balanced. It was just dive in, get a big kill, dive out. And the risk was not that great simply due to the absurd speed at which you could take out enemy mobile suits using the Barbatos. As an adjustment policy, so as a patch, as an adjustment, while making the range of the shockwave of mace and sword severe, while adding the speed adjustment of the boost step, while keeping the strength of Barbatos as much as possible, reducing the feeling of ease and easy action, we are planning to make adjustments with a policy to make it easier to blame. That's another one that's going to be difficult to decipher entirely without a direct Japanese translation, but I take that the range of your heavy swing and the sword stab are going to be nerfed. The speed adjustment of the boost step, meaning probably all of their boosts, all of Barbatos' boosts, might go less range, which would be a very, very big deal for that suit because mobility is a very big deal for the Barbatos. That could be big. That could be very big. Now for the two suits that I personally was very confused about, the Turn A and the Marasai, two suits that are clearly meant for flanking roles, but didn't really do all that greatly in either. If there were any two suits in the game that I would say needed significant tweaks to their kits, it was those two. So to see that those are two of the first suits that get highlighted after this test is very good to me. That's a great sign, because it shows that they're paying attention to the feedback that is being given by the fans, by the players. That Turn A and Marasai were just not working as flanking roles. Turn A Gundam has many skills with strong operational habits, such as Beam Rifle, Tomo Nage, and Moonlight Butterfly with charges, and it was a unit that was rarely touched due to its poor touch. Again, weird sentence. Basically, it's supposed to be a strong suit for flanking uses, but it didn't do that all that well, so it was rarely used. In particular, Tomo Nage was supposed to serve as a counter against fighting attacks like Barbatos mentioned earlier, but it was not functioning well due to lack of awareness of skill intentions and problems with the performance of the skill itself, which we will see in this video at the bottom. As an adjustment, we plan to improve the operability and ease of guessing each skill as follows, so that a wide range of people can easily handle and fulfill their expected roles. Improved bullet speed when the beam rifle is charged to max. That is pretty big, considering the charged rifle over-penetrates enemies, and I believe has one of the biggest headshot crits in the game. Like, if you headshot with the fully charged beam rifle, that thing hits, I think, for around like 500 damage. It's big. It is a big hit. Improved ease of hitting the throw, shortening time to grab, increasing the distance traveled, etc. So in fighting game terms, increased grab distance and shortened startup. Improved operation feeling of Moonlight Butterfly. That's interesting. Moonlight Butterfly, I felt, was actually one of the better G maneuvers in the game. So I guess that's more about how easily it will turn, because turning that move could be, you know, it kind of felt like you were sliding on ice. So this is a video of Tomo Nage being adjusted. So let's full screen this. We've got Barbatos here on the right charging in, and this is the training area. So I presume this is the old build and this will be the new build. There is a definite speed difference. Can I do this frame by frame? Just about. So let's look at this frame by frame here. So at the moment of activation, both the guns go down at the exact same moment. So we can count this by frames. That's awesome. So let's count this from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On the 9th frame, the new version at point blank range has already grabbed Barbatos. So a roughly, if this is 30 frames per second, roughly 1/3 of a second startup time. And then it takes an additional 1, 2, 3, 4 frames for it to get to the same point in the animation on the old build. And then let's see, back to gun, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's so overall it seems like it's roughly a 3, 4, 5 frame difference, like relatively minimal. But again, one of those things that in fighting game terms, in startup terms, that can be significant, that amount of time. You know, at least that's the way my brain thinks about it, and especially considering it's a throw, my brain immediately goes to fighting game terminology when it comes to this. So, shorter startup, longer range, more effective against melee units. The longer range is a big deal, because especially if the grab itself has a longer range, that means you might be able to deny a melee hit that would have hit you, because the hitbox of that throw might be so big that you're able to reach out and grab them before or outside or you know, at least challenging their swing range. That's a good change. I'm pretty happy with that. And again, improved operation feeling of Moonlight Butterfly, that could be big. The Marasai. Man, this suit confused me. Marasai was supposed to serve as a counter to the fighting machine, the mech, by the Sea Snake Toe, but since it took a long time, front gap, to activate the Sea Snake Toe, it moves quickly. It was a unit that was difficult to hit with a fighting machine and was rarely used. Marasai was supposed to serve as a flanker and was supposed to use the Toe version of Sea Snake as a flank, as something to be able to pull out individual units and focus them down, but the startup for Sea Snake Toe was so long that it wasn't useful, that, you know, the enemy unit moves too quickly and it could get out of the way. It was a unit that was difficult to hit with a fighting machine and was rarely used. So, you know, Marasai, another flanking unit that just didn't feel up to snuff, so people weren't using it. In addition, Sea Snake towing itself is a powerful skill that has a high possibility for being defeated by subsequent cooperation if it hits. Okay, yeah, so it's Sea Snake, basically, it's a very good ability that if you hit an enemy mobile suit with it and pull that guy into your gun line, that suit's gonna get melted. Makes sense. Considering the balance, let's see, was a high possibility of being defeated by subsequent cooperation if it hits, and considering the balance with that, it is the main weapon fetter in. I don't know what that is. I didn't play Marasai all that much, so I don't know. The modest setting of the power of the rifle was also a factor in lowering the overall rating. So the modest power of its main weapon was also a factor in why it wasn't used all that much. First off, we aim to make it easier to play the original role by adjusting the front gap of Sea Snake traction. It's, again, I swear this is just weird translation every time, and the adjustment performance of the main weapon if necessary, while observing the situation after adjustment. It's under consideration. So they are absolutely buffing the Sea Snake Toe, Sea Snake Towing, Sea Snake Traction. It's the same thing. So now they have a video of Sea Snake and the differences in this. Oh, significantly faster startup. So is this on the same frame again? Yep, it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Already out on frame 8 on the right, which is the new build. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wow, 6 frame difference. So on the... Now, these two don't appear to be exactly the same distance away from one another, but even so, it is very telling that on the far side, I can't point, I'm not going to point, the new build on the right, the toe has already hit the Barbatos. You can see the damage on its health bar, the white square on the right showing that damage is being taken away from its health bar. It has already hit Barbatos at what appears to be longer range than where the Marasai is to the Zaku on the left, before the toe on the left has even activated. So that is a significant speed buff. Or you know, the startup is reduced so much. I mean, again, so the startup is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's an 8 or 9 frame startup on the right. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's almost a 50% reduction in startup time. That is enormous. That is a very, very big buff. And in the right hands, I already thought Marasai could be effective, but this is a key component of Marasai's abilities. In fact, it is Marasai's main ability, is this toe. So, enormous buff. Could be huge for the usefulness of this suit. And on top of this, they're also considering adding in a damage buff to Marasai's main rifle. Both of those things together, I think, would substantially move this suit up a tier list, because right now, the Marasai, as it existed in the previous build, didn't feel great. Man, that's fast. That is so much faster. That's cool. I'm excited in possibly seeing that get implemented. And lastly, the Gym Sniper. And this one covers something that I think will be all-encompassing and have a major effect on the game as a whole. Gym Sniper 2 is a unit that has often been talked about because of the high rate band amongst high-level players, where the influence of one shot tends to be large because of the ability to drop the unit from long distance with a single blow. It's a sniper. First of all, there are no plans to change the concept of the Gym Sniper 2. Good. I'm happy to hear that. They shouldn't change the concept of a sniper, because a sniper should be exactly the deterrent that Gym Sniper 2 currently is, which is supposed to be deployed in that you can defeat most units with a single blow by hitting a critical hit. Yes. The problem is their skill reward versus having hitboxes the size of, clown afros. However, the critical hit rate of hit scan immediate landing weapons was higher than expected throughout the test, and Gym Sniper 2 was also in the situation where it was easy to make critical hits. If you don't believe that it was easy to make critical hits using the Gym Sniper, this is a clip of me the first time I ever picked up Gym Sniper. This is literally the first 4 shots I ever fired out of this Mobile Suits gun.
Alright. Biggest hitbox known to man. I'm all for it.
Since we want to make the rate of critical hits proportional to the improvement of player skill, we are planning to adjust the collision that determines the critical hits. Now, is that specific to the Gym Sniper 2, or does that mean that they are going to adjust hitboxes across the board for hit scan weapons? That's going to be interesting. If there is still a problem after making this adjustment, we will consider changing the judgment size of the bullet, but I would like to adjust this area carefully. I also like that. The judgment size of the bullet, I'm guessing, is just the hitbox size of the bullet. That's all for the adjustment policy that we can tell you at this point, but we are also considering adjustments against the suits aircraft that we didn't mention in this development blog. So just because these are the only 4 suits that are mentioned in this blog does not mean that the other suits in the game may not be adjusted. That's also really good to hear, because I think pretty much every suit across the board should be adjusted in one way or another a little bit. In addition, although this will be described again, the balance adjustment including these will not be performed in the next home version network test, and it will be a test in the same environment as the PC version. These adjustments, these patches, will not be put into effect in the next server test. They want to be able to compare apples to apples. They want to be able to compare the same builds across multiple platforms, see what's working, what's not. I like that decision. Please note that the purpose is to collect information and opinions by testing the PC version and home version in the same environment. Exactly. We are preparing for implementation of such a home version network test, so even those who could not participate in the PC version network test at this time, and those who can continue to participate, when the acceptance of these home version network tests starts, we hope that you will apply and participate in the event and get your hot opinions. Please play the console beta and give us hot takes. That's all for this development blog, but the development team is working hard to provide you with the best gaming experience, so please continue to support us. See you in the next development blog. Gun Evo Battle Director Hogaki. This is all good stuff. This is all very, very good stuff, and I'm very happy to see how this has gone. I'm very happy to see that the feedback is being heard, that they know which suits have been struggling the most compared to others, which suits seem to be very strong versus others. The changes that they showed here in terms of the actual video clips for Marasai and the Turn A both show me that if they are going to be making changes, they're going to be incremental. They're going to be small adjustments to try to bring things properly back into balance. This is good. This is all very good for the future of Gun Evo, and I'm really excited to see after the console test, because we're going to have some time between now and the console test, and then probably some time after that until we get anything beyond it. But I'm very excited to see a build of this game with a few changes, because while the initial server test was very fun and I had an absolute blast, there were definitely a few issues with balance that are being addressed here. And like Turn A getting extra speed to charge shot is huge. Throw being buffed, huge. Tow cable being buffed, huge. Potential adjustment to Marasai's weapon damage could be enormous. That could be one of the biggest changes to the entire game. But at this point, that's all speculation. Who knows what it could end up being. So that's it for these patch notes. Alright, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for those of you who tuned in and watched this video. Very much appreciate it, and I very much appreciate the support that you've been showing the channel recently. The previous Gundam Evolution video is doing much better than I anticipated, especially for it being a 1+ hour rant. I appreciate the feedback you guys have been giving me, and I'm really looking forward to this game. Really looking forward to it. So if you're not already following me here on YouTube, I'd really appreciate the follow. Give me a subscription, possibly. That'd be awesome. And expect more Gun Evo and kinda mecha content in general in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks again. This has been Scan at GLHF TV.